and welcome to this subject introduction video for OCR's 2016 Level 3 Cambridge Technicals in Sport and Physical Activity. My name is Gareth Edwards. I'm a development specialist at OCR and I've been working on the development of the Sport and Physical Activity suite. I'm really excited to be able to share with you our 2016 Cambridge Technical Sport and Physical Activity. They're available for teaching from September 2016 and contain 5 different sizes of qualification: Certificate, Extended Certificate, Foundation Diploma, Diploma and the Extended Diploma. The Certificate, Extended Certificate and Extended Diploma size qualifications are categorised by the Department for Education as Applied General. The Foundation Diploma and Diploma are all categorised as Tech Level. All qualifications are graded Pass, Merit, Distinction and Distinction Star. The Sport and Physical Activity suite consists of 21 units, which we will look at later. All units are graded as a Pass, Merit or Distinction. For qualification certification, all units must be achieved at a minimum of Pass level. We've designed the qualifications to give students flexibility within their study programme. Depending on the size they choose to study, Cambridge Technicals in Sport and Physical Activity may make up the bulk of their 2-year study programme or be taken alongside other vocational or academic qualifications. Whatever route they choose, you can be confident that your students will be able to progress to a university degree programme or into employment or an apprenticeship where they could continue to study. Now, let's look at the structure of the different size qualifications. The certificate is 180 guided learning hours, which is the equivalent size to 1 AS level. Your students will need to complete 2 units to achieve this qualification. Both units are mandatory and are 90 guided learning hours each. Unit 1, Body Systems and the Effects of Physical Activity, is externally assessed. I'll speak more about the external assessment later. And Unit 2, Sport Coaching and Activity Leadership, is internally assessed, so set and marked by you. Our certificate will give your students a broad grounding across the subject. Because this size is 180 guided learning hours, it makes it suitable for your students looking for a qualification that will complement other subjects in their study programme and prepare them for further study. The Extended Certificate is 360 guided learning hours, which is the equivalent size to 1A level. Depending on the units chosen, your students will need to complete 5 or 6 units. There are now 3 mandatory units, still units 1 and 2, but now with the addition of Unit 3, Sports Organisation and Development, which is externally assessed. Your students then choose 2 or 3 of the optional units available, depending on the size of the units chosen. These are all internally assessed. This size of qualification gives your students the flexibility to take other qualifications, vocational or academic, alongside it. Your students will be able to progress to a university degree programme or into employment where they could continue to study. The Foundation Diploma is 540 guided learning hours, which is the equivalent size to 3 AS levels or 1.5 A levels. There are 3 pathways available to students in this qualification, which each lead them towards specific occupations within the sector. These pathways are Activity Leadership, Fitness Instructing and Recreational Assistant. Depending on the pathway followed, your students will take 8 or 9 units. There are 5 core mandatory units for all pathways. These are still units 1, 2 and 3, but now with the addition of Unit 4, Working Safely in Sport, Exercise, Health and Leisure, which is externally assessed, and Unit 11, Physical Activity for Specific Groups, which is internally assessed. Each pathway has its own set of pathway mandatory units and choice of optional units. All these are internally assessed. This size of qualification is designed to take students directly into work or onto an apprenticeship in the roles identified. Alternatively, they could choose to progress to a university degree programme where they could continue to study, as all our Cambridge Technicals attract UCAS points. The Diploma is 720 guided learning hours, which is the equivalent in size to 2 A levels. This size of qualification offers 2 pathways, sports coaching and personal training. Again, depending on the pathway followed, students will take 11 or 12 units. The 5 core mandatory units I mentioned in the Foundation Diploma still exist. These are in both pathways. Each pathway has its own set of pathway mandatory units and choice of optional units. All of these are internally assessed. Our Diploma will form the bulk of your student study programme, but gives them the flexibility to study other smaller qualifications alongside it. This size of qualification is designed to take students directly into work or onto an apprenticeship in the roles identified. But for students who wish to progress to a university degree programme, that's fine too. The Extended Diploma is 1,080 guided learning hours, which is equivalent in size to 3 A levels. This size of qualification offers 2 pathways, Sports Studies and Sports Science. For each pathway, your students will take 15 units. There are 9 core mandatory units that appear across both pathways. Then, just like smaller qualifications, each pathway has its own mandatory units and choice of optional units. Our Extended Diploma, Sport and Physical Activity will form the bulk of your student study programme in preparation for progression. This size of qualification aims to give your students in-depth knowledge and understanding of the sector and take them on to further learning. All our qualifications are fully nested. This provides a very useful facility of being able to drop students down to smaller qualifications, such as the certificate, if they do not stay for the full term or change their direction, providing recognition for that which they have achieved. For other students who are highly motivated by sport, topping up to larger size qualifications, such as from an extended certificate to the Foundation Diploma or higher, if required, is also facilitated. This is not possible with similar qualifications offered by other awarding bodies. And for those of you who are not currently delivering Cambridge Technicals, we believe this offers you and your centre with a special opportunity to think differently, providing you with a real alternative choice. These qualifications have been developed with the student in mind, ensuring that on completion they are able to progress either directly into employment or onto further learning, whether this be university or an apprenticeship. These qualifications have been developed with the student in mind, ensuring that on completion they are able to progress either directly into employment or onto further learning, whether this be university or an apprenticeship. Extensive research was done with employers, universities, schools and colleges and students themselves to really pin down the skills, knowledge and understandings that students would need to support them on their journey. The content is exciting, engaging and practical, so not only will it prepare students for the next stage of their career or education, but they should also be able to have some fun along the way. The pathways chosen for the Foundation Diploma and Diploma have been done so to reflect the job roles that your students can realistically expect to enter following a Level 3 study programme. We expect and encourage students to aspire to become performance coaches, managers, physiotherapists or professional athletes. Yet the reality is that at 18 or 19 years old, it is highly unlikely that students will be able to enter these areas. Instead, these qualifications are designed to make them first day ready for a range of key roles within the sector. With input from leading organisations such as Sports Coach UK, Sports Leaders UK, SIMSPA, British Athletics and the Royal Lifesaving Society, we've included skills, knowledge and understanding that employers require from prospective employees, and so these qualifications will put students ahead of the game when seeking employment. For the Extended Diploma, the pathways chosen have been done so after extensive consultation with some of the leading universities in the country to ensure that students are fully prepared for the transition to HE and a range of degree programmes and can hit the ground running. You must consider the relationship between the units when you plan the learning programme. To help you with your delivery planning, all units highlight opportunities for synoptic teaching, learning and assessment. In Units 3, 9 and 21, which are all externally examined, 10% of the marks available will be synoptic assessment, requiring application of knowledge from Units 1, 2 or 3. For Unit 11, students will apply what they have learned in the other units they have taken, providing further application of their knowledge and skills in a synoptic way that enhances the applied nature of the qualification. It is therefore recommended that this unit is delivered and assessed towards the end of the student study programme. It will be possible for students to make connections between other units over and above the unit containing the key tasks for synoptic assessment. Please see Section 6 of the Centre Handbook for more detail. For the Foundation Diploma and Diploma, there is a requirement for meaningful employer involvement in the delivery and assessment of the qualifications. This can include guest lecturers, work experience, job shadowing or case studies provided by employers. Each of the unit documents details ways in which meaningful employer involvement can be included in the delivery and assessment, and our resources will support you in meeting this requirement as well. Throughout the development, we've listened to the views of teachers. By doing so, we've designed qualifications that you are able to deliver using any mode of delivery that meets the needs of your students. References to real-life scenarios and case studies using local examples can be used to bring the content to life and help your students to understand the relevance of what they are learning. Of course, whichever mode of delivery you decide to use, your students will need to have access to appropriate resources to ensure that they will develop the skills, understanding and knowledge required to complete the assessments. We recommend you reference teaching and development of subject content and associated skills to real-life situations and case studies. There are also plenty of opportunities to co-deliver and assess a number of units, and details of which units complement each other can be found in the unit documents and delivery guides. The aim of the Foundation Diploma and Diploma is to make your students workplace ready, and so the units in the qualification are heavily applied and best taught and assessed in work-based scenarios. While work experience is not a requirement of these qualifications, there are practical elements in many of the internally assessed units that allow a student to consolidate their learning and further develop their skills, knowledge and understanding if the work experience element of their study programme is directly relevant to their Cambridge Technical qualification, even the externally assessed units. Any work they undertake during work experience could contribute to the evidence for summative assessment. You must plan this with the student and employer so the work allows the student to cover the requirements of the unit and you're able to authenticate it. All external assessment takes the form of a written examination, with computer-based testing being optional for Unit 1. This ensures that the externally assessed units are easy to manage in your centre and require minimal supervision time, unlike some of our competitors. There are 2 exam series each year, January and June, which gives you the flexibility to enter your students for the externally assessed units when they are ready. Exam dates are set by us. Should a student not achieve a pass in any of their externally assessed units, there will be an opportunity for 1 resit per unit at an additional cost, and the best result will be used. In order to plan your teaching, you need to consider when you are going to enter your students for the exams. If you are not familiar with the exam registration, you need to take into account the entry dates for each series. You can see from the slide that students need to be registered for an exam about 2 months prior to the exam date. If you miss the entry window, there is a charge for late entry. You will get results in time to re-register students for the next series if they need to resit. For externally assessed units, where the content contains IE and EG under the specific areas of content, the following rules will be adhered to when we set questions for an exam. A direct question may be asked about unit content which follows an IE. Where unit content is shown as an EG, a direct question will not be asked about that example. The following units are externally assessed. Unit 1, Body Systems and the Effect of Physical Activity, an hour and 30-minute written exam consisting of multiple choice questions, short answer questions including labelling of diagrams and extended answer questions. Unit 3, Sports Organisation and Development, a 1-hour exam made up of short and long answer questions. Unit 4, Working Safely in Sport, Exercise, Health and Leisure, a 1-hour and 30-minute written exam consisting of multiple choice questions, short answer and extended answer questions. Unit 9, Research Methods in Sport Science and Sport Studies, a 2-hour written exam based on pre-release stimulus material and research notes that students can take into the exam with them. Unit 21, The Business of Sport, a 1-hour 30-minute written exam consisting of multiple choice questions, short answer and extended answer questions. We provide sample assessment materials for the externally assessed units. This is because we set the assessment for these. Sample assessments show you what the assessment will look like, and you can use them as practice materials. Each year, we'll make the exams from the previous year available as practice papers. You can download model assignments, sample assessment material, and eventually past papers from our website at www.ocr.org.uk. To be awarded a full qualification, a student must achieve at least a pass grade for all units required for the qualification. If they don't do so, they won't be awarded the qualification. Students will be awarded a combination of pass, merit, distinction or distinction star qualification grades determined by the aggregation of points gained through the successful achievement of individual units. The number of points available for each unit depends on the unit grade achieved. More information on this can be found in the qualification handbooks. For the externally assessed units, we can only advise of notional grade boundaries. An awarding process takes place following each exam session, and it's only at this point that the grade boundaries are determined. These grade boundaries can change year on year. You will need to refer to some or all of the following JCQ documents: instructions for conducting examinations, suspected malpractice in examinations and assessments, access arrangements and reasonable adjustments, a guide to the special consideration process. Find these at www.jcq.org.uk. Depending on the qualification size chosen, the vast majority of the units are internally assessed. This means your students will be set assessment assignments by you. You'll mark your students' work using the assessment criteria in the grading grid. You can even provide them with some feedback. Once ready, you'll make a claim and we'll moderate the work for you. To support your internal assessment, we'll provide a model assignment for every mandatory unit in the specification. You can use these with your students, adapt it to meet your local environment, or use it as a basis to create your own assignment. Because of the nature of vocational qualifications, we believe that allowing you to create assignments that meet your students' needs and interests will benefit them more and give them greater success. Your assessment assignment should reflect the practical nature of the units, and so units such as performance analysis and sport and exercise, group exercise to music, health and fitness testing for sport and exercise, and working in active leisure facilities should all be delivered and assessed in such a way that mimics what happens in the workplace, or even assessed in the workplace itself. But if you're unsure, an assignment checking service is available and can be accessed through the CPD hub on our website. However, it's not mandatory for assignments to be endorsed by OCR. Students can be assessed at any time within their study programme, and will provide you with 2 free moderation visits per academic year. This flexibility, combined with our efficient administration process, enables you to focus on what's important, delivering a study programme that meets the needs of your students, rather than completing the additional paperwork that our competitors require. We'll moderate your claim when you're ready, but we'd suggest you plan when you'd expect your students to be ready for moderation and discuss this with your moderator and get your visits booked in well in advance, particularly in the summer term, as this can get very busy. Your students can resubmit an assignment if they've not performed at their best, but you must use your discretion as to whether or not this is in their interests. We believe this is a real advantage compared to our competitors, who require your students to complete a brand new assignment within a very short time frame. Our internal assessment really does put your students at the heart of the process, allowing them to reach their maximum potential. We'd also strongly advise you leave time in your planning in case a unit needs to be resubmitted. And please remember that if your student requires UCAS points, you must have all units complete and moderated by the 30th of June. For more information on internal assessment, you could attend our live webinar training or watch our support video. If you have any questions and want to talk to us, please feel free to do so. You can call us on 024 76 851 509 or send us an email at vocational.qualifications@ocr.org.uk. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has given you a flavour of the Cambridge Technicals in sport and physical activity, and we very much look forward to working with you in the future.